Hello, welcome back to Access. I'm Rob. Joining us is Hollie.
Hey guys.
Hollie, we've just sat through a gameplay demo behind closed doors of Detroit Become Human.
It was really, really awesome. I've already said a few times on different videos, I'm really excited for Detroit. Like, I really enjoy David Cage's games.
Yep.
So for me, this is like that, but like ramped up to like basically to PS4 and just no holds barred David Cage-ness.
Yep, it did look awesome. So what we've got confirmed so far is that there are going to be multiple playable characters.
Yes.
We don't know how many, but we do know that Connor, that's the android you saw in the E3 presentation, and also Kara, who was in the original tech demo that became the inspiration for Detroit, she's also going to be a playable character, and that all playable characters are going to be androids.
Yes, and you can kill them all.
Yes.
Like, if you really, I mean, you just can if you're not just playing it well. I mean, Jackson or Dave will probably kill all of them in whatever Let's Play that we'll eventually do of this, and it will be terrible.
Oh, man.
But yes, you can actually.
Do you remember his Until Dawn?
Yeah, pretty much everyone died in Until Dawn as
So,
well.
yeah, think Heavy Rain for the structure of this game.
Yeah, I think Heavy Rain suits it more than Beyond.
The story will, as it progresses, will switch between all the playable characters, and pretty much, depending on the choices you make, characters can die and will die.
Yeah.
And I asked at the end of the presentation,
Yeah.
what if all your playable characters die like really early on? Apparently that doesn't matter.
Yeah, so they said there won't be like a game over screen. So
Yeah.
if all your characters die, there'll be a narrative way for this to make sense. So if you do kill everybody, narratively, it'll still wrap up a story. It won't be game over and go back to the beginning, which is actually quite cool because it means they've really thought about how all this could end and play out.
I mean, it really struck me how many different possibilities there are. Because you look at something like Heavy Rain, and you get a scene, maybe there were 2 or 3 possibilities how that scene could play out. There are so many ways each scene can play out. We saw the hostage situation played out in a couple of different ways, didn't we?
Yeah, we played it in 2 different ways. So they played it their way once, which looked like it might have been quite similar to how it was played in a demo we saw at the PlayStation conference.
Yep.
And the second way, they sort of let us pick, and we did quite a few things quite differently. Like, there's a police officer who'd been wounded. We tried to go over and apply a tourniquet to him. We did send the helicopter away. We did quite a few things. It was really different, actually.
So let's dive into your notes, Hollie, because you've got a very organised looking
So I took about
notepad there.
3 pages of notes in Detroit, and I've rearranged them to talk about nice things. So it's set in neo-noir. That is what they're saying.
It's a neo-noir thriller.
Neo-noir thriller, but it's not like, yes, it's sci-fi because it's got androids, obviously, but don't start thinking like it's in the future with like flying cars and
So
laser
20
beams.
years in the future.
It's only 20 years in the future.
So the near future.
Which makes it, one of those like it's really possible kind of things. The androids, there are millions of them. They basically do the jobs that humans just don't want to really do.
Menial tasks.
Menial tasks, and they are treated as such. And that is how the androids
And they all have
live.
to wear a blue triangle on their vest or whatever clothes they have.
Yeah, so android laws were passed so that people could easily identify androids in a crowd. So they've all got blue triangles here, and Connor also had one on his back. And then we all know they're androids because they have this thing here on their side of their head.
And they're each designed for a specific task as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So Connor was designed specifically for this. He is an advanced prototype specifically designed to handle hostage situations.
Well, like deviants.
They call them deviants.
Yes, his entire purpose is to help humans take down deviant androids.
Yeah.
So David Cage said he's basically a Blade Runner. And then just before we carry on, an amazing bit of trivia. The actor who plays Connor is called Brian Deckard. Deckard.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
Did
know
you
that.
not hear David Cage said
sorry,
it?
I was writing notes.
Oh, man. So the actor who plays Connor is called Deckard.
That's amazing.
Which is ridiculous. Anyway, let's carry on.
So now that's the Blade Runner bit out.
Yeah.
So because like that, you've been dancing around it this whole time, like it's quite Blade Runner-esque. So Connor is built for this purpose. It was quite interesting. At one point, they were having a conversation, Connor to the deviant, and he was like, he asked the SWAT team leader, like, has he had an emotional shock?
Mm-hmm.
As if if they go through something really shocking, that's what could like lead an android to like become a deviant, which is obviously it just shows that they're really thinking about how androids work. So anyway, because Connor was built for this purpose, he has a special sort of power or ability, and each one of the androids you play as will have their own ability.
Their own unique style of how they play, basically. Yeah.
So Connor has something called the Mind Palace.
Like Sherlock.
Basically like Sherlock.
Yeah.
And you go into the Mind Palace, and the whole room like fills with like blue like grids, doesn't it?
This pauses the action, and you can analyze your environment. You can analyze your probability of a successful mission.
Yeah.
So as Connor walked into the apartment, his probabilities of success were 50-50, and little blue dots highlight things you can investigate, don't they?
I mean, you don't have to go into the Mind Palace to find things that you can investigate, but it does help highlight things.
Yep.
And then part of this is reconstruct mode. So what he can do is he can go find an item or a person, so in this case, one of the humans that had been killed, and literally reconstruct the murder and how it sort of happened based off things like bullet trajectory and the angles that he must have fallen at. And that can lead you to find more bits of evidence that you wouldn't find otherwise, that would then increase your probability of successfully completing the mission.
And you control these scenes with the touchpad. You move your finger forward and backwards, and you can rewind and fast forward and pause the action.
Yep.
Rotate the camera around it, look at it from any angle. It's similar to Batman's detective mode.
Yeah.
I thought, quite similar to the kind of scene reconstructions you do there. But you can pick up bits of evidence, as you say, and these more often than not will increase your probability of success because you have more information to
do
negotiate
your job
with. Yeah.
Like, so we found one bit of information which the little girl that he's holding found like her iPad, I suppose, and she watched the video, and it's her and Daniel, and she's like, oh, Daniel the android is my best friend.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, his name is Daniel. So on the second playthrough, he walked out going, Daniel, my name is Connor. And he was like, how do you know my name? I know lots about you, Daniel.
Yeah.
And then the probability went up.
And it also gives you a bit of information about Daniel's relationship to the girl. So you can, there were we didn't select that option when we were playing through it or being shown this playthrough, but you could kind of talk to Daniel about his relationship with Emma and maybe try and calm him down that way.
Yeah, and at one point, we picked up a gun because we had done a reconstruct scene, found a gun under a table, picked it up, we had the gun in our back pocket, and that actually opened up a lethal option that hadn't actually been available before, and you'd seen a little padlock where it would have been, and now that had been unlocked and it had a lethal option, which we didn't do. We did try and talk him down in
We
the
did
end.
lie to Daniel, though, and say we were unarmed.
Yeah, we did say we didn't have a gun. But again, that option, wouldn't have come up if we didn't have a gun on us, because there's nothing to lie about. We didn't have a gun.
Yep.
But actually, I was really impressed by just how many little details, and that's all that reconstruction stuff. That's just Connor. All the other androids you play as, we don't know how many.
Yeah.
Will all have something just as intricate,
and
but different.
David Cage was keen to stress, wasn't he, that the mechanics we saw in this scene are unique to this scene, and obviously the investigative side of it, the Mind Palace, is unique to Connor. So the other playable characters will have their own unique mechanics that they have. We don't know what those are yet. We've only seen this scene so far, so it's going to be really exciting.
It is, actually. I'm even more excited now that I've seen it, and I've seen 2 different playthroughs, and it really helped me understand when they say it's got lots of options. This is really above and beyond what we've seen from the team in the past. This is more than what Beyond did, more than what Heavy Rain has done. I'm really excited for it. This is my kind of jam. I do like a good story-based.
Should we tell everyone how the scene played out the second time?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was really, really cool.
From the beginning?
Like we were negotiating with him, weren't we? And the probability of success kept on going up because we were getting.
We did really well.
Negotiating
we were like a probability of 90 something at one point.
No, it got to 99. And as you were doing this, Connor was able to move closer to Daniel than he did we were very close to him, within touching distance of him. So we sent the helicopter away. That increased the probability of success. We were quite sympathetic to him, to his plight, because it turned out his family had decided to replace him, which is why he was angry and thought he had been betrayed.
Which we learned through doing reconstruct mode. We had found another sort of computer on the floor that had been hidden, and that said they'd actually just bought a brand new android, and Daniel was heartbroken. That was the emotional shock that Connor said could have triggered it.
And then at 99% chance of success, Daniel asked, okay, I'll put Emma down if you give me a car.
Yeah, and I will drive.
And I'll drive her out of the situation, and I'll then release Emma. And at that point, there was the option to accept that request or refuse it. And everyone in the audience chose to refuse that request.
Why? Just let him do it.
Yeah, I thought, let him have it. But that instantly, the probability of success shot down to like 78% or something like that.
Lower than that even, it was ridiculous.
And like in the E3 demo that you'd have seen at the press conference, he jumped off the top of the roof with Emma.
Yeah.
But because we were close enough this time, There was a little button prompt to save Emma, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Press
literally.
X to save Emma.
Like, we were literally, like, hammering it to, like, run.
So we were close
Wouldn't have
enough.
had that option if we hadn't been close enough.
Yeah, so Connor dives in, grabs Emma,
And then...
pushes Daniel off the top of the building, but in so doing also falls off the building himself.
What was
So-
amazing, though, was as we were falling,
Yeah.
it still came up saying...
Mission successful.
Mission successful.
Mission successful as Connor plummets to his death.
Because for Connor, I guess, he was programmed
Yep.
to save the girl, and
So
he did it. And
in that playthrough, Emma was saved, but Connor died.
yeah.
And so
But what does that? And we don't know what that means.
No.
You know, how would Emma being alive change the future of that world?
Yeah.
You know, if Connor is still alive, does that change things? You won't know
Nope.
now for Connor because that's your playthrough. It's
I
incredible.
guess the ideal situation would be to talk him down, have everyone survive that scene.
Yeah.
That would be the
That'd be-
ideal
that's the ideal.
situation. But no, both Daniel and Connor were dead, but Emma was saved.
That's what matters.
So
Little girl lives,
yeah, everyone.
old man
It's
dies.
amazing, you know. Often in Quantic Dream games, everyone will have like a different experience or
Yeah.
a different kind of story, but I don't think anyone is going to have the same experience.
No, I don't think so.
'Cause if we both played Heavy Rain, there's a fair chance that we'll have seen the same scenes
You
and
rel-
have kind of the
relatively-
same ending. About 18 endings in Heavy Rain.
Yeah, and I think the path to get there
Yeah.
will have lots of similarities. You can still be able to chat about it, but
But
no,
with Detroit, I'd be very surprised if anyone had the same
I'd
game.
be
There's
surprised.
so many choices.
I'd be really shocked actually when people were coming out with really similar options.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited for it. I know that's us trying to talk you through just some of the in-depth options for literally just one of the characters.
Yeah.
Which has me really excited.
One scene, one character. Notebook closed.
Notebook closed.
But yeah, let us know what you think of Detroit in the comments. Detroit Become Human. It's looking absolutely
I'm
amazing. I can't wait to play more. Yeah, do stay tuned because we've got absolutely loads more coming up.